Okay, here's a good anonymous question for Jakob. When will AGI happen?
So I think in some number of years we'll look back at these years and we'll say, this was kind of the transition period when AGI happened. I think, one way we thought about, I think as some said, like early on at OpenAI, we thought about AGI kind of emotionally as this like thing that is like the kind of ultimate solution of all the problems, and it's this like single point for which there is before and after. And I think we found that it's a bit more continuous than that. And so in particular for like various kind of benchmarks that seemed like kind of the obvious like milestones towards AGI, I think we now think of them as kind of like indicating like roughly how far away we are in years. And so if you look at the succession of milestones such as computers beating humans at chess, and then at Go, and then computers being able to speak in natural language, and computers being able to solve math problems, right? I think, well, they clearly kind of get closer together.
Yeah, I would say I think it's the AGI term has become hugely overloaded, and as Jakob said, it'll be this process over a number of years that we're in the middle of. One of the reasons we wanted to present what we did today is I think it's much more useful to say our intention, our goal is by March of 2028 to have a true automated AI researcher and define what that means than it is to sort of try to, satisfy everyone with a definition of AGI.
And maybe one other thing to mention, right? Like I think like one kind of counterintuitive thing here is that obviously we're working with like pretty complicated technology. We're trying to understand all these algorithms, and maybe initially we kind of imagined that like AGI is the moment where you kind of have figured out all the answers, and it's kind of the final thing. And I think now we increasingly realize that there is kind of some curve of intelligence, maybe a multidimensional one, and humans are somewhere on it. And as you scale deep learning, as you develop these new algorithms, like eventually, well, you kind of inch closer to that point, and eventually will surpass it, and already have surpassed on multiple axes. And that doesn't actually mean you have solved all the problems around it, which is something we need to seriously think about.